Hey, check this place out. Fancy.
Yes. Good afternoon. How may I assist you?
Yeah, I was told by the Transmutation Magic front office that I could come here to see a guy named Professor Ferguson. Is that you?
Yes, I am Professor Ferguson. And you are?
Shaft. Hey, I only have a few minutes here. I gotta go back to the Learning Center and hook up with some associates. But what I need is somebody to help me out with this spell I've been working on, Flaming Arrows. It just doesn't seem to be working the way I think it should.
Of course. But before I do, could you tell me what happened last time on the Incorrigible party?
Leaving the tainted lake behind, the party quickly stops to investigate what seems to be the end of one of the handful of unlit exit tunnels they found beneath the water, located next to the road that runs between Zexa and Altenchik. Later that night, during a rest, a long overdue sending spell to her parents leads Mia to believe that not everything is right in Barrack. Assuming Nyogi are in the city, Hulsa, Dreg, and Mullen agree to stay with the party and fight with them against the alien scourge. Finally, reaching the outskirts of Drukal, the party hears a mix of pained and frantic voices on the wind.
Well done, Shaft. It looks like you've mastered it. But I will caution you. You can only maintain focus on one such spell at a time. Casting another spell requiring your full attention will dispel the flaming arrows.
What do you mean? That's not true. You can concentrate on more than one thing. I do it all the time.
I assure you, you cannot. Masters of the Arcane have tried for millennia and have not attained the ability to cast two such spells at one time.
What are you talking about? You mean these guys can't figure out how to think about two things at one time? I mean, what if you have a Jolvi song stuck in your head? You know, you're singing it and along, and you're going, I sure would like to go get a nice Alebender stout. I mean, you could keep both of those things in your head at one time.
Well, that's not exactly the...
surely it's not much of a leap to think that if I mark somebody for death with a spell, I can't also think that I can kill them with the flaming arrows.
Well, Shaft, it doesn't work like that. You
Wait,
see...
Let me cut you off right there, Professor. Hey, I obviously have offended you. I'm sorry. As you know, I'm a novice at this stuff, and, nobody told me I couldn't do it, so I just didn't know any better. But so far be it from me to argue about how spells work, right? But I do appreciate what you've done. I've got to get back to the adventure. The voices, do they sound... Can I hear them, like, over the sound of the storm and the wind, or does it sound like they're ghostly, or do they sound like somebody's yelling?
They sound with the emotion in which I recited them to you. Like it's amidst the wind. I remember it's not a storm; it's just a light rain. They are clearly coming from the direction of the silhouette of the tower that's kind of emblazoned with these torches all among it, a few hundred feet away.
Do we see people?
No, not from this distance. You would have to get a little closer to investigate.
My point is, do I believe these are real voices? Is what I'm saying. Can I do an insight check or something? Is my question.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we're headed toward the east gate, and the tower is to the north of the city, outside the city.
That's right.
7.
Okay, I think with a 7, I don't... Why don't you roll me a history check instead?
Okay.
In addition, sorry, not instead, in addition.
There we go, 18.
Ooh, there we go.
So,
Bingo.
You distinctly remember having a conversation with Percival the Paladin in Port Randus at the Asinine Leopard about voices and their experience going to one of these towers. And, voices distinctly, Percy did mention to you that he heard the name Tobias. Obviously, at the time, he had no idea it was referring to you, and you did not let on as such. But that wasn't that long ago. And
Right.
you can clearly see a tower in the distance. Very similar circumstance, perhaps.
Okay, I think when I hear the voices at first, I'm going to look over at the tower and then prod the horse quickly to trot very quickly towards the tower. And on my way, think about what's coming down and sort of slow down a little bit and think to myself, this may not be what I think it is.
Shaft.
Do you tell any of us what you're doing?
You just
Shaft?
see me just whap the horse
Okay.
and head off.
Where are you
Shaft!
going?
And I don't respond, I just haul ass.
Falzarin, he needs that cube thing.
I'm gonna go with him. So I'll spur my horse on and make pursuit.
Yeah, I'm gonna look and see. Do I see any movement? Do I see anything ahead of me as I get closer?
Yes, as you approach, you can clearly see now the tower reaches about 100 feet into the air. The very peak of it still looks like it's under construction. Here, there is no light other than the torches set up. It's kind of like they're just kind of staked into the ground around a loose perimeter around the circumference of this tower. So no blue light here. At the top of the tower, though, you kind of see where, again, left unfinished. There's clearly what looks like to be a top floor up there, just like the walls around it have yet to be constructed. No roof over top of it just yet. But at the very top of it, you can see this three-legged metallic structure, like a tripod with an extending pole that rises up from where the three legs meet. It ends in what looks like a type of housing, this kind of semicircular space where something would sit into it. Amidst the torches, look like there's about a half a dozen paladins of cultists, and they are overseeing a number of mechanical cobras. It looks like there are 5 of them here, kind of milling about the base of the tower. They seem to be moving in a type of patrol pattern around it.
Okay, I'll slow down to a stop and let Falzarin catch up to me.
Yeah, I was coming after him, but trying to be, I'm very, very weary, so I'm not trying to go galloping in there very noisily. So I'm kind of scanning my surroundings, trying to keep up with Shaft, but at the same time, trying not to be too loud.
So it's still raining and, water pouring on us and such, and I'll wait till he comes up beside me. Not pulls up beside me. You don't pull up on a horse. When he trots up beside me, I'll look over. I'll sort of... Did you hear the voices?
Yes, I thought I heard one of the voices say Tobias. Did you hear that?
Yeah, that's... Didn't, Percival say something about the voices? Coming out of the mechanical things, and I point over and sort of show him, point at the snakes.
Yes, I do remember that. And he had mentioned that one of the snakes said Tobias, did he not?
Yeah. I'm not getting a good feeling about this.
I think he may be right. I wonder if there are some of those mechanical creatures around here. They could be quite dangerous.
Alright, I sort of turn the horse around and head back to the others. Let's go.
Before you do, so sorry, Shakar and Mia, you did not accompany Shaft and Falzarin
Can
this close.
we see the top of the tower from where we were?
You two would not be able to, just because of the darkness. You're not quite close enough to see it. But as Shaft and Falzarin, you both turn away, you see what looks like a periscope kind of pop up from the ground on either side of you, and jolts of electricity pierce, rake through the dirt at your horse's feet. So the horses are going to need to make a dexterity check, because this only affects those that are touching the ground. So I'm going to get Shaft and Falzarin to make an animal handling check, and if you hit the certain DC, that'll give your horse advantage on this dexterity check.
20!
Leland's face.
I know how to handle my animal.
Yeah, you do.
12 for Falzarin.
So both of your horses will have a 0 modifier to their dexterity. But Shaft, with your animal handling, I think you know, as you're kind of turning, looking at kind of where you're guiding your horse to, you kind of maybe see this a little before Falzarin does. And your horse will have advantage on this dexterity saving throw. So both of you can go ahead and roll for your horsies and give me a dexterity saving throw.
Okay, so 0 modifier. I'll just roll it here.
Do we see this happening? Are they close enough?
Yeah, so Shakara and Mia, you both, especially Mia, is going to notice this immediately. You see the sparks of the electricity coursing through the ground at their feet. If you kind of imagine from the distance that they pulled up, it's basically, you can see them, right? But then further to the torchlight to make out any of the details is a little outside of your sight line.
13. I see his face.
My horse rolled a 6.
Okay, I will remind you both that your riding horses have HP of 13.
Oh, plenty to work with.
We're basically at your call. You're fine.
I barely knew ye, horsey.
I didn't even name this horse.
Quick,
Thank
name it real
goodness,
quick.
am I right?
Quick. Quick.
I think mine will be named.
Ripper, because he's gonna die.
Well, it depends. You tell me the damage roll, and I'll decide if I'm going to name it Brendel or not.
I'm going to name him Volt.
Okay.
Well, Falzarin's horse takes 20 lightning damage. Shaft's making the save will only take 10. I did roll very
Brendel
high
it is.
on that. This shocking development draws the attention. It draws
Pun
the
intended.
attention of the paladins and the cobras, the latter of which immediately begin swarming towards you, Shaft and Falzarin. Those random voices that ring out through the air as they approach, the same voices you heard carried on the wind, repeating those sentences over and over again. You clearly see that they're the source of the voices. Shaft, you can pick out very easily the one that Nina's voice is originating from. Behind them at the base of the tower, 3 more figures begin to move. They seem to kind of suddenly appear from nothing. Before you realize that these stone men, they were kind of camouflaged, right? And they carry these huge slab of perfectly carved rectangular rock in each of their hands as they move away from the very base of the stone tower. More movement from above you at the top of where the unfinished part of it is. This kind of this like sucking sound, like a suction cup being pulled from a surface, joins the chorus of these disjointed voices. As you see 3 autonomous ballistae with mounted draconic heads. They roll across the outer walls of the tower. That suction, like every time the wheel turns, just sticking like a spider would stick to, right to the side of these towers. They each open their mouths. The sharp point of a 5-foot long bolt reflects torchlight as they do so, preparing to fire.
Can I do something as I've seen this shock happening, and then they're obviously observing this, but I think after I saw the electricity, I would want to race my horse up to them and try to see what's going on.
Same.
Absolutely. Shakara as well. Okay. And then, of course, your entourage will follow Halsa, Mullen, and Dragwell also. As the 5 of you spur your horses to meet with Falzarin and Shaft. And just as it's kind of almost like Shaft and Falsey are equidistance, right, between these 2 forces, as the rest of the party is catching up and the Cobras are making their own way, advancing towards our 2 sole original of the members of the podcast. You hear one of the paladin shout and hold up his hand. Hold! And these mechanical monsters immediately freeze in place. So the voices do not stop. More of them having been added to this symphony of shouts and cries with the ballistae and the stone men having made their presence known. I'll kill you! I'll kill all of you! No, not you again. Get out of my dreams. Get out of my head. Again, those sentences repeated over and over again, just this cacophony of voices. And the paladin that shouted his command, again, he was on his way as well, of course, kind of hits and moves up to you as the rest of the party joins Shaft and Falzer and Shakara and Mia, you taking in all these sights now that I previously described to the ranger and our wizard. And the constructs just are like frozen as if they were statues themselves.
I just hold my hands up and go, no worries. We're here for Samuel. We've been sent.
The paladin closes within 20 feet of you. He sheathes the sword that he had instinctively drawn from this. Clearly this is to some type of alarm, right? These scouts machines. And he pulls off his leather gloves, kind of, holding up a hand before he does, reaches up to his hand, to his ears, and he removes what look like 2 bits of candle wax from them. He kind of brandishes them to you. It's about the only damn way you can be out here with these things. I'm Silas Grohl. I'm captain of the Tower Watch. He taps his forehead with one thick finger, as he seems to be a bit of a heavy-set man, human, motioning to his own circlet of the wise, looking at yours, of course. Now, either you all somehow managed to get your hands on some pretty nifty items through thievery and probably violence, or the lot of you are the ones cultists sent word about.
We're here for Samuel. That's us.
We are they. In the flesh.
I'm sorry about the shock. You kind of triggered our perimeter. And he kind of gives a whistle. And out from where the periscopes are, which Shakara and Mia now you can see as well, burrow up from the ground. It looks like almost like a maggot with a bit of a maw on it. It's kind of like that's the shape that its body takes, almost like it's not quite segments, but it's very clearly strung together of metal, overlapping metals, right? And they each have 2 arms with that come to a single point on either side of them, and instead of legs, they have these spiked wheels, like spokes, like a spoked tire without the actual tire kind of thing. They kind of bury up out of the ground and just sit tight at Silas's whistle.
Well, Silas, wow, this is quite the operation you've got here. Samuel really failed to mention the extent of his search for the gauntlets and the amulet here in Drukal.
I don't really have any details on that stuff. I just watched the tower. It's not quite done yet, as I'm sure you can see.
Oh, let's get it out of the rain. Can you take us in the tower so we can dry off?
Yeah, I mean, we can step inside, but there's no roof on it.
Oh.
Right.
I thought there was floors, and just the top floor wasn't. Okay.
You haven't been inside, so he's telling you there's a roof, but you have no idea. Obviously, you have no idea what is actually inside of it.
Yeah, I think that's a reasonable thing for Shaft to think that there might be floors to it.
Well, I think since we're here, we should at least check it out.
I mean, I can give you a tour. There's not much to see. Follow me. He kind of looks over at Falzer and, yeah, sorry about your horse. I don't have a replacement for it, but you're not too far from the city.
Hop on, Falzer, and I'll scoot up.
Thanks, Shaft. It's quite all right, Silas. No need to apologize.
I'll have one of the stone defenders pick it up and put it somewhere that it will be out of the way.
Silas, have you been inside the city?
Oh yeah. We're not the only ones out here that keep watch. We take shifts.
And what are the conditions?
I mean, what do you mean?
Are there Nyogi? Why are you wearing the circlet?
I mean, why are you wearing the circlet? I think that's a pretty obvious question.
We intend to go against them. Do you? Do you expect them here?
We're not out here watching the tower for nothing.
So there have been sightings?
There have been attacks.
I knew it.
I will say, though, I haven't seen any sign of them inside the walls of the city. But even just, we're not that far out. They swarm us. I mean, it's good. If we didn't have these things, I don't know what we would do.
What about underneath the city?
I don't know. I've never been underneath the city.
Silas, where did you guys get your circlets? Are there extra at all? Because we have a few companions here that are lacking one.
Yeah, I noticed that. I'm unfortunately each soldier is just assigned their own. We don't have a store of them. When we
Okay.
were dispatched, we were given them. I assume when the rest of the forces arrive, they're all going to be outfitted with them as well.
Yeah, perhaps they will have more then.
You do not have any extras here? Any that are no longer needed?
He kind of, a bit of a sardonic smile at your implication. Fortunately, we don't have any extras just lying around.
I'll nod at him.
To the tower?
Yeah.
Sure. He'll just begin walking with you.
Okay. Are we on target to come online here soon? Like in a week or so, right?
I mean, when Samuel sets a deadline, you better meet it.
Right, so you have the power source and everything.
Nope, that's not here. Not until it's up and running. From what I understand, the source will be coming with Samuel himself, so.
I've often wondered what the inside of one of these looks like. Is there much to see?
I mean, not really. It's pretty much just a hollow spire. And, you approach the front, the door, I guess it's less of a gate. It's more of a kind of a larger than standard door like you would find in a building in a city, right? But it does look like it is very thick wood, reinforced with metal stripping and all that. He kind of, throws it open as you approach. And he motions over to some of the other paladins to, like, take the reins of your horses as you were all kind of stepping off, right? So they don't just kind of saunter off into the storm. And the cobras go back to their kind of patrolling pattern. And the bronze scouts is what they're called. The ones that burrowed underground, they go back into underground. And you see them kind of, the little shifting of soil and sand as they move underground and burrow close to the surface back out to about where they had, you had encountered them, to this perimeter line almost. And you can all step inside the tower immediately in front of you. So this tower, it's actually quite large. Has about a 50 to 55 foot diameter. And immediately in front of you, there looks like there is what looks like a divot in the ground that's starting to be dug, or like clearly intending to be like a pit or something. Other than that, just leading up, there is like a stone staircase, just spiral staircase spiraling around the inside edge of it, all the way up to the top, in which you kind of see there is a top floor, like you surmised, shaft, and standing over a hole in the center of it is that tripod structure. So it's like a ring, right? So there is an opening or like a donut at the top. So if rain is coming down, and of course the soil at your feet is getting all muddied. You do see like the half dug pit. There is a couple inches of water that has built up in there from the rainfall. But other than that, there's literally nothing else in the side of the tower.
That tripod thing is what Mia and I saw at Alstoff's.
Yes, you have seen a schematic of that exact apparatus.
Frick, you have a good memory. I remember that.
I'll just kind of nudge you, Mia, and I'll gesture to it.
Mia has a better memory, so she's like, nods. Yeah.
Leland, also, I'm going to kind of discreetly hide the handle of my sword, the Dread Knight's sword, just in case they recognize it.
Okay, I gotcha. So, and Silas can just, he brandishes, like a flourish. Like I said, it's not much to see.
That looks like it's coming along pretty nice.
How long does it take to build one of these?
Well, I mean, you throw enough manpower at it, you get it up pretty quickly. It's less the actual structure that takes the time. It's more of the, when the magic wielders come in and do their thing. I couldn't tell you much about that, but
Now, I'm curious. What is the thing in the center? At the top there, that tripod. What does that do?
I assume it holds whatever makes a light.
It holds the artifact.
I only recently came into this position. I actually haven't even seen a functioning one.
Oh, what happened to
I
the
see.
other captain?
Well, I'm not sure what happened to my predecessor if they had him down south, but for this tower specifically, I'm the first captain of its watch.
That makes sense. So there's a captain assigned to each tower.
Right, so Captain Silas, you knew we were coming. Any instructions for us specifically, or anything we should know?
No, nothing specific. I mean, I don't think you're here to help us with the tower assembly, I assume.
No, not really.
No. I'm not really all that great when it comes to the manpower department, but it is interesting. I've been very curious about what a tower looks like up close. Never had a chance to take a closer look.
I mean, it seems like a bit of a waste of stone if you ask me. There's nothing in here.
Not yet. Now, I kind of look at Falzer and then I look back at Silas and I think, so Silas, do you guys have any instructions as to, like, once the tower's functioning, how you can sort of survive its area of effect?
Well, like I said, I've never handled them before, but there's this thing that, you know, it keeps you safe from the lights, right? And then the tower can
you guys
do its
have those
job.
here?
No, I mean, we weren't given any of them yet. Like I said, it's not functioning yet, so there's no need to keep anything like that on hand.
Oh, okay. Is Samuel bringing those then?
I would assume so. I mean, our crew had to mobilize pretty quickly to get up here as fast as we did. So we didn't have all that much information, but you know Cultus, when he says jump, you say how high? Where am I going to land?
Yeah, you got the snakes. Those things are annoying. I mean, the sounds coming out of those things constantly.
Yeah, you know, they really grate on you. That wax, it's a lifesaver, but when things are quiet, they settle down a little bit. It's almost like they go to sleep or something. It's strange.
Huh.
I've never seen anything like these before.
They just keep saying the same thing over and over again?
Each one of them saying something different voice.
Each snake has its own voice.
Yeah, actually, each one of the constructs out there does, actually. I heard.
Each being has a separate voice.
I don't know if they're beings. I mean, they're made. They're created.
Are they?
Well, I mean, that's what the... Again, I'm not at a station where I get told very much. But there's talk within the ranks in any organization, right? If you put your ear to the right place and the right door, you'll hear. So between us, maybe, I heard from the boys down south that they put something in them to power them. And that's, as soon as you turn them on, they start talking. Otherwise, you pull that thing out, nothing. They're lifeless. They're dead, I suppose, if they're really beings. But what kind of being can you just flick a switch for?
Right. It just doesn't make sense to me why a metal snake would be saying, you know, help me, heal me, you know, that kind of... That doesn't make sense.
There are many things that can be trapped. Many ways in which to trap them.
So you think those are people inside of those things?
Like a soul trap?
I am afraid so.
Oh, shoot.
Well, okay, I'm sorry. I don't want to hear any of this.
Yeah.
I didn't say anything about this. I can't do anything about it. I just put my plugs in. I drown them out. I just keep the tower safe. I didn't mean to overstep. Please.
No. These are all just theories. You're cool. I mean, I'm not going to tell anybody anything. I'm looking back at everybody, sort of giving them an eye like.
Tell anybody about what?
Exactly.
Shaft, I have something I need to discuss with you later.
Sure.
As you're all having this conversation, you see Dreg specifically. He's just kind of walking the inside perimeter of the tower, and you see his remaining hand is lightly kind of touching stone in some places with his remaining fingers. Just kind of looks very curiously, almost like as if similar to how he looked in Campbell's shop, right? He's just kind of in the middle of arcane something, arcane, whether it's items in a magic shop or clearly he's showing the same type of interest around the base of this tower.
Falzarin notices this?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think I would wander over and sort of just observe somewhat behind him over his shoulder, more or less, and see if I can sort of, put anything together about what he might be looking at.
Now I'm just picturing Drag doing something and Falzarin standing behind him and just mimicking everything that he does.
I was going to say, I picture Falzarin whispering into Drag's ear.
Yeah, I thought this was
nothings?
going to be a ghost situation here, but
Just puts his hand on top of his hand on top of the rock.
Falzarin, why don't you make me an Arcana check, please?
14.
You notice where kind of Dreg touches. There's almost like this glinting or this glimmer in a few different places in which he has put his hand.
Interesting. Okay. Have I seen anything performed like that, or does this remind me of anything I've read about or seen in Heraklion?
It's clearly like Dreg isn't like casting anything, right? He's clearly finding something on the stone, and he calls you over, right? He sees your interest as well. Falzarin, can you see these symbols? Do you see them? And he kind of points out, and again, kind of will roll your Arcana over as you come over and inspect as Dreg is like pointing it out to you, almost like as he's making you aware of it. This symbol, kind of it's almost like a scrawl of script, of arcane script. You see it
like a rune, sort of.
Exactly, and it just kind of, it becomes suddenly entirely clear to you as something inscribed onto the stone. Can you make this out, Falzarin?
I do see what you're talking about now that I get closer, Dreg. Do you know what it is? What it symbolizes?
I'm afraid that I might. This specific one here, and it's like many others around the perimeter of the tower. It's an amplification rune. I've used these with Alstoff building the safety shell. They're meant to amplify any power directed through them. And he puts his hand up to his forehead, like his head in his hand. I don't think the anchors are the only thing that Samuel's adopted from Alstoff.
So you think, are these not commonly known? Is it likely that Alstoff is involved in this as well?
You see this curve here. While it's clearly an imitation, but this is Alstoff's. It's almost like his signature on a work of art. This is clearly taught to someone by Alstoff.
Well, that is unfortunate news. It actually doesn't come as that much of a surprise to me to learn this, because we've suspected that Alstoff has played a role in manufacturing these constructs. So the fact that he's using this sort of magic as well sort of makes sense.
I should have recognized his handiwork. I don't believe that he's powering the mechanical creations. He was never one to he simply built the shell. I mean, even when it came to the safety shell, I had to provide the power source, a bit of my own power imbued into them.
He doesn't possess much magical power, is what you're saying.
I don't believe he's the source of what is allowing these constructs to move.
So there's at least one other person involved who has more mastery of magic, the arcane arts.
Isabella.
Jessica.
Cultist.
Jessica. I don't know.
It could be Cultist himself.
Silas, wrapping up, his please don't rat on me. I mean, if there's anything else we can do for you, that's back to, what I was told at least. You have free reign to whatever services that we might be able to provide. If you need extra men, extra soldiers, that could be arranged. Just, I assume you're heading to the city. Just stop by the Tickly Servant. Great place. Paladins it's like our barn. It's like we rolled in and we had this place. It's our place. You'll be welcomed with open arms there.
Oh yeah, I know the place. Maybe we'll get you an ale bender there. Kick one back.
I won't deny having a few already, but I'll take another.
Captain Grohl, the importance of the tower is in what it will protect. Do not underestimate it.
Of course. No, take my duties very seriously. And not just because I'll be punished incredibly harshly should I not perform them.
Not just because my life depends on it.
We will report favorably to cultists on your behalf.
I appreciate that. I do hope you all have success for whatever you're here to do in the city.
We appreciate that.
Turn around and leave.
Yeah, I'll get back on the horse to sort of go over to Falzer and hold my hand down to him and go, hop on, buddy. Come on, Dreg. I'd hand a hand down to Dreg, but...
Well, Dreg has his own horse, thank you very much. He's a big boy. And you see, he hesitates a little as he's pulling away from like where he was inspecting at the wall. But yeah, I mean, of course, he accompanies the lot of you.
He puts himself on his horse one hand at a time.
Just like the rest of us.
Like the rest of us. Before Mia, mounts, she's just gonna kind of walk up to the thing that shocked and killed the horse and just kind of, look at it and sort of inspect. Just,
oh, well, the specific construct...
They went down back?
They had buried bird.
Oh, okay, they retracted.
But
okay,
if
just
you
kind of,
want to...
looks where they were.
Sure, yeah,
kicks the dirt,
you can see, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's just sort of I was interested by that, but yeah.
I mean, if any of you would like to get a closer look at one of these other constructs, you absolutely can do that. Like Silas said.
No thanks. Mia doesn't like snakes.
Yeah, I'd like to get closer to one of the snakes and look over it. What is that one saying?
This one is one of the ones that is saying, no, not you again. Get out of my dreams. Get out of my head. And you see that it's... Now that you are taking a look at them, they actually do, each of them are somewhat unique. There's obviously this base model, I suppose, that you could say, or again from a sketch or a plan that Tinnerman is creating them from. But there's always something a little different than compared to the other one. Whether that is simply a bit of, maybe it's metallic, like the coloring and the pieces of metal that it was used, or even just a bit of the way its body might be shaped or something like that. There's something unique about each of them.
Can I touch it? Will it let me put my hand out and try and touch it?
Yeah, like I said, it's back to kind of this slow patrol back and forth, and if you reach your hand out as it's passing by, your fingers kind of glide against it as it's moving past you, and it doesn't seem to react to your touch at all.
Who is in your head?
I'll try and get in front of it.
And it stops. It doesn't try to push past you. It will stop if you step directly in front of it. So it doesn't really have eyes, right? It has the approximation of eyes, where basically a kind of a rounded piece of metal is set into the overall structure of its face, right? The cobra with its metallic hood, right? Kind of constantly always set in a state of flare, warning, flaring out, right? So there's nothing for you to read or anything, but as you speak to it, that sentence again repeats twice very quickly.
What do you see? Who were you?
That same the sentence again, you're communicating with it more, right? That sentence picks up. It's still just that single sentence, seems that all that is it can say, but it's now repeating faster and faster and faster.
So it seems like it's reacting to her questions.
Yes.
In some way.
That's right.
I take notice of this.
There is nothing I can do for you now. but I shall try.
The voice stops for a few seconds and then repeats at a little slower and at a reduced volume.
I will put my hand on it again in like the heart area and give it a little pat and walk away.
Can I hear the one that's Nina's voice?
Yep, you can definitely find it and pick it out, yeah.
I'll ride the horse over to that direction. Falzern, are you on the horse with me?
Yeah, I am.
And how tall do these things stand?
They're a medium-sized creature, so they're probably, if they were fully coiled, like on a coil of tail, it would be about 4 or 5 feet tall.
Okay, so I'll go over to that one. I'll look down at it and I'll say, "Can you hear me?"
Tobias, where are you? Come back, Tobias. Why have you left me?
Nina? And then to see if it repeats it again.
Tobias, where are you? Come back, Tobias. Why have you left me?
I'm coming. And I pull the horse away and start trotting back towards Drakal.
As you turn, it says, Tobias? And a pause this time. And then as if it's like immediately repeating, Tobias? Tobias? As you maneuver the horse away.
I keep going.
The mechanical men in Heraklion weren't speaking, though.
They were not.
Yeah.
They were different things, though, weren't they?
Yeah, it's just a
Observation.
construct, though. Yeah, exactly.
So is everybody following?
Yeah.
Yeah, I already left. I don't like snakes.
I think once we get out of earshot.
I'm sorry, you won't get out of your shot. Sorry, something happened.
Oh, I'm sorry.
My bad.
Okay.
I'm giving you no time to process, Shaft.
Tobias?
I was going to share!
Tobias?
As you're, stepping away, you're kind of back out of the perimeter, and now that you know to look for them, you can see like the eye stalks, and it looks like these guys are moving underground with the eye stalks up, kind of keeping a watch, right? And then they're kind of moving again around. Seems like they've set up this perimeter. But as you're plodding, down one horse, unfortunately, back to the road, you hear this like guttural grunt, and many of them, a few of them, coming from what sounds like behind the tower, almost beyond the torchlight, northward towards the base of the Vorgarag mountains. And like that now, of course, Shaft and Falzer and for sure recognize the sound of the jolting of the scouts from beneath their feet. And you see kind of a spark of it far off into the dark, again northward back behind the tower. And the constructs into action immediately once more. The paladins stationed outside, Silas again drawing his sword as he's kind of in the middle of waving to you as you're walking away, and then that hand just immediately like any like amusement or something he had on his face as he was like wishing you well regards and saying goodbye, like he's back to business, stone-faced as he was when he was approaching you, pulls his sword and starts again charging back towards where the lightning came from. This time you do not hear him scream, hold, or to pause the constructs. The ballistae up top, again, that sound of the suction cups as they maneuver back around to face out northward.
Do we recognize the sound of the grunts? Like, what would make that noise?
Why don't you each roll me a perception check, and Shaft, you can roll with advantage.
How long's it been since Shaft ate? Is it his tummy grumbling? Oh, okay. You just ate.
I get advantage on that. You guys all have disadvantage.
You said perception?
Yeah.
I have a 12 for Shakara.
14 for Falzarin.
22 for Shaft.
19 for Mia.
So you can all hear what sounds like running feet, like the many footsteps pounding against the dirt that makes up the landscape around the tower. And Shaft, you immediately you've heard the grunts like that, the deep throaty grunt of an orc in pain before. Your time in the mountains, you definitely recognize that sound. And above at the tower, the ballista bolts, they let loose and they sail into the darkness beyond the torchlight. You just hear the whistle through the light rain in the air before balls of fire just erupt at where the bolts hit their marks. In the flash of these fires, you see approaching waves of orc warriors, what looks like a very rough count, nearly 24 of them charging the tower and its defenders. Above you, swooping down into the sight of all of your dark visions and the torchlight around you, you see and hear the beating of leathery wings and the sharp, repetitive clicks, like echolocation of giant bats, each with an orc rider of their own. And they grip another figure by the shoulders. They're carrying these creatures. They look like warped orcs. Their sharp black bones jut out from forearms, from elbows, from kneecaps, out of their broad, furry shoulders. 2 curved horns jut out the side of their heads, and each of them carry this gnarled, thick-bladed greatsword. As the bats let them drop, and they land around you. And you see each of these creatures have a tattoo on their foreheads.
That's exactly what I was going to ask.
That's what I was going to say.
Can we tell if they are tattooed or not?
Orcs.
Dang it.
Let's roll initiative.
19 for Shaft.
I have a 17.
I got a 13.
It's a 7 for Falzern.
Atop these bats, you see, like I said, there's 4 of them. It looks like there's 2 different types of orcs among the 4 bats here as riders. The first ones that move, they're hooded, they're wearing like light armor. You see each of them kind of carries a rapier at their side, similar to Shaft. But they're just these bats are kind of constantly in motion, just circling around you with their riders. But the Red Fangs are up first.
The Red Fangs are the bats?
No, the Red Fangs are the orcs. So these bats, I mean, they're mounts for these, so they work the same as like your horses do.
Or Pegasi.
One of the Red Fangs just kind of points to the middle of this group, and everything goes black except for Shakara. As a magical darkness, he conjures a magical darkness around you.
Frick!
That, of course, does get the troops that the bats have dropped off, but it does look like it gets just about everybody. The second Red Fang, Shakara sees that they draw what look like darts from a pouch of theirs. How did each of you react as this darkness kind of goes around you? Like, what would your characters like? What are the bodily movements or that your characters would do or act or utter or something?
I would grasp at my goggles like they stopped working.
I think Falzern is probably just frozen in place. And I think he's probably preparing for what he's going to cast when he's able.
I would be trying to look to see if I could tell which one casted that. Casted? And then just watching to see what they're going to do. Can I tell which one did the casting?
Oh, yeah, you can definitely. It would be Red Fang 1 on the map.
I think I would start striding towards it.
Mia's gut reaction is to put her hand on her hammer and, basically, when it gets magical darkness like that, she would pretty much want to call lightning and just see if that could help her see, just shooting lightning down. But I know it's not my turn, obviously, right? But it's like my hand is moving, that's my instinct.
Right.
Yeah.
But what I was getting at is the second Red Fang clearly sees Shakara looking at the both of them as if she was able to see. And I will note that, so these bats are like 40 feet up in the air. They're not landed. They're still flying. Just keep that in mind. But that orc pulls out 2 darts and will throw both of them at Shakara for a critical hit and only a 16.
16 does not hit. my AC is lowered now since I'm carrying the dark sword and I had to put away my shield.
Oh, right. Okay.
But 16 still does not hit.
Well, the critical hit with the max plus a roll is going to be 21 piercing for the single dart. And then Shaft, you're up.
Like I said, I'm going to grasp at my goggles. I'll sort of take them on and off to see if something's not working right. And sort of yell out, "Where'd everybody go? What's going on?" And I'm going to ready an action. So when I hear the guttural noises of one of these orcs or sense something near me, I'm going to swing at it.
Okay. So I will say before the darkness was created, it looks like there was one of the horned orcs had dropped right next to Shaft Falzarin on their horse. There's one directly in front of Mia and Torrent, and a little ways away from Shakara and Buttercup. Another of them has dropped about 5 feet away from Mullen and his horse, and then the fourth are right next to Hulsa and Dreg on their mounts. So you can all like have this picture, right, of before everything went dark, is the scene, the last you knew of what was happening.
Okay. Well, in that case, if I was looking right at it when everything went dark, and I have a sense that they're right in front of me, I would probably take a few steps forward and swing my bronze scimitar. I assume with disadvantage.
Yes. Yeah.
See, that would be a 16.
That's a hit.
Awesome.
You see, you was wildly in the dark, and you feel your blade like scrape and stab into something like hard, incredibly hard. Falzarin's very excited.
So I think that's 18 damage because I don't have Colossus Slayers. Obviously not been hit.
I got that joke, Leland.
Oh, I didn't hear you. What'd you say?
Nobody else did. That's all right.
What was the joke?
I missed it. Sorry.
All that matters is somebody got it. Sorry.
I don't know that I missed
you said
it.
18? It wasn't much of a joke.
Yeah. All right. So since I made purchase with the bronze scaled scimitar, and I assume I heard some kind of a noise or reaction when I bit into it, so it wasn't Falzarin screaming "ouch."
No.
I assume I hit the orc, and then I come around with the Sword of Oozes and try to hit with my second attack with disadvantage still, which is a 28 with disadvantage.
Oh my goodness.
And yeah, piercing damage is 13 plus acid plus Colossus Slayer, so it's 30 points of damage.
Well done.
With my bonus action, I'm just going to cast Hunter's Mark on... Well, can I cast Hunter's Mark on something I can't see? Magically mark it as you choose a creature you can see, so I can't do that anyway. All right, I'm done.
Well, are you going to take your second attack with your scimitar?
I'm not bonus action, so... Yeah, so it would be the other scimitar, so... Still with disadvantage. That's a 19.
Yeah. My God.
And that would be 20 points of damage.
Okay. You aboard the dock. Do you want to move the horse at all?
No.
All right. Mia.
So you said I have a Tanaruk in front of me before the darkness fell.
Yeah.
Darkness falls and Mia like puts her hand on her hammer. You know, she's like, do I call lightning? The problem with calling lightning is I know that I have to choose a spot for it to sort of hit, and I don't want to accidentally hit anyone that is a friendly. So
I will tell you that if you cannot see a spot to choose, you cannot call lightning.
Okay, so I can't even. I like think twice.
I will like, also say like you're actually kind of sitting right on the edge, so you kind of like you almost see like Torrent. You can't even see Torrent's head. Oh well, okay. I guess you can't see anything. So I guess you don't even really know where you are.
You don't know that I'm on the edge.
I was gonna say
yeah.
you like see the wall of darkness as your hand passes through, but that doesn't make any sense. That only works if you're on the other side of it.
Right. Like I see one hand and not the others. Yeah, no. What I will do is I'll take my hammer and I'm going to I'm melee range though. But I'm on the horse. So can I throw it without disadvantage, or is that...
No. Well, okay, but because you can't see anything, you have disadvantage anyways, so have at it.
True. Kind of like a jouster, I think. Mia's gonna, like, put the hammer in her left hand, like, where she knew the guy was, and, like, kick toward it and be like, go! And, like, just try to melee attack and, like, move forward with it, like, get the force of the horse with me.
Okay. A little rear up and then a huh!
Yeah, like a... I don't have spurs or anything cool, but that's only a 12 to hit.
That one is a miss, unfortunately.
Oh, it would be a disadvantage. I didn't even roll 2.
Okay.
Dang it.
You still have movement.
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess I'm like here now. Like I moved like 5 feet up.
Yeah, and then you do find that you are on the edge of it, and you step right.
So I
out
can
of
see
it.
now.
Now you can see. Yeah. And now you see the wall of darkness that you can put your hand into, and it disappears. That I was trying to describe before.
That would be so spooky. Mullen is wearing the eye patch of dark vision, isn't he?
He is.
Oh, dark vision, not
Not magical.
magical darkness.
Yeah.
Oh, bonus action. Mass healing word, anyone?
That would be
I mean, the
very
Tanner
ill timed.
sure could use it.
You know what I'll do? I'll cast my spiritual weapon. So I will create my spectral hammer within range, and I can make melee spell attacks against creatures within 5 feet of the weapon. So let's cast my spiritual hammer. Ooh. My hammer rolled a 26 to hit.
Yeah, that's gonna hit.
And it does... Oh, I just did 3rd level, so that's okay, though. That's okay. That's a 10 force damage. 10 force damage to Tanaruk 2.
All right.
And I'll leave it there, but as bonus actions on my turns, I can move and use that hammer. So
Hulsa is next. She is going to take her horse and spur it straight forward. She just kicks it forward as far until basically she's coming out of the darkness. At which point she'll stop and kind of round. Now, of course, still unable to see Shakara, but she will send an Eldritch Blast up at one of these red fangs. Ooh, that's only a 10, so that's going to be a miss. As this blue lightning that none of you can see sparks from her fingers and misses the bat and the orc astride it. Next, the other 2 orcs on the bats, blinded as well, or at least unable to see each of you.
out of curiosity, does magical darkness occupy like a sphere, or is like every spell different? Like
Every spell is different, but darkness itself is a sphere.
okay, so like if I were to have flown up, I could have eventually been out of it, but like who knows? Like I wouldn't know that.
Yeah, you could have done that.
Okay.
Those in the darkness and Shakara can see that the other 2 orcs actually land with their bats, and they will get off. Shakara, you can see these ones a little closer now. They each, like, their claws and the nails on them, they've been sharpened to these elongated points. As you know, they let go of the reins, nearly shredding them in their as they're handling them. But they're off their bats, and they do nothing else. Shakara, you're up.
Sparky, attack that orc!
And I will point to Red Fang 1. Sparky does have blind sight, so he should be able to sense.
Dang.
Okay, roll away, Spark.
He tries to bite, and he gets a 21.
Thanks, Sparky.
Dang, Spark.
For 6 piercing damage.
It will trigger a Constitution saving throw to maintain the darkness. Wow, gets an 8. The darkness is dispelled by Sparky.
Hey!
All you frickin' did was dead. All right, you got bonus action and movement, Shakara. darkness is gone.
That wasn't
Everyone
my
can see.
action. That was Sparky's action.
I believe it takes your action to command it. Or does it take... What resource does it take of yours? Because he doesn't operate autonomously.
He would have his own initiative, and he would... Yeah, it'd be like talking to him. It's telepathic communication.
Okay, I keep forgetting he has his own initiative. But you give him commands, though, right? What does the Find Familiar spell actually say? Also, we didn't roll. So can you roll me him, and we'll put him in.
He has a better initiative than me. 18. Says your familiar acts independently of you, but it always obeys your commands. In combat, it rolls its own initiative and acts on its own turn.
Okay, well, we're going to put Sparky at your initiative just because of the way things worked out.
Yeah.
Is there something special that you have that allows Sparky to attack?
That's what I was just looking for.
There you go. So additionally, when you take the attack action, you can forego one of your own attacks to allow your familiar to make one attack of its own. So you have this is fine. We didn't actually screw anything up. So you still have an attack, because this would be you taking the attack action. So instead of making a second one, you could have Sparky go up there. So regardless, your first attack, because you can see, wouldn't be a disadvantage anyway. So the darkness still being up, technically before Sparky would move, doesn't actually affect anything. So you can go ahead and make an attack on something if you like.
I'm going to see that Mia is handling the one that's next to her, the Tanaruk, the mutant orc next to her, and I'm going to walk over to the other one to my left that is next to Dreg. And as I'm walking over, I will say, Fuego! And my sword will... A dark flame will erupt from the blade. And the flames don't shed any light, but instead cause everything to dim in a 40-foot radius.
Surprise! The darkness isn't quite gone.
So you get blinding light for a second, and then it dims a bit. Blinded by light. That's a 16 to hit.
That is a hit.
And I am going to Unholy Smite. So I'm now doing 2d6 for the sword, 2d6 for the Unholy Flame, and 2d8 for the Unholy Smite. 24 damage.
Good hit. Dreg. Now you can see he sees one of these on top of him again. He's gonna try to firebolt. Unfortunately, he is maybe he'll try to get out of there. Well, he's kind of surrounded. There's not much place to run, so he will just try to stand and fight with Shakara, and we'll try to firebolt this horn orc thing. That is unfortunately at disadvantage, and that's gonna be like a 9. So that's gonna be a miss. Finally, these horned orcs. See, their greatswords look as like spiny as them. The handles are like there's no guard on them. It's just like a wrap of cloth that leads into metal, and by the tip of it, it's almost like they have their own growth of these horns at the top of them. They look very top heavy. I guess we'll start with Shakara. So first, greatsword attack. For a 19.
I will parry. As a reaction, I add 6 to my AC, which will bring it up to 24.
Is that just for that attack?
Yes, it's my reaction. It says, as a reaction, you add 6 to your AC against one melee attack that would hit you.
Okay, great.
1.
And it follows up, its mouth wide open to reveal teeth like the same dark stained color of its horns across its body as it tries to bite you. Ooh, that one's going to be a 21. Not going to be that bad, though. It's only going to be 9 piercing as it gets its mouth on you.
-3, so 6.
Another one steps up to Mullen, closing the distance, swinging with its greatsword. That is just going to be a hit at 12. Not that bad. 9 slashing to Mullen. But there is a bite coming. Oh, that one's going to hit. That's going to be a 17.
Yeah, but it bites the horse, right?
Seems it has no taste for flesh but that of a wizard. Another 10 piercing. And there is one next to Shaft and Falzarin. Falzarin being the closest target with its greatsword. Oh, that's a natural 20.
Oh no.
Ow.
I would like to blink, please.
It's nothing special.
You take 24 slashing,
Oh.
and it'll round for a bite. Oh, that's going to be a miss. That's an 11 on the bite.
That's a miss. With my my mage armor, it gives me 13.
Finally, last one on Mia. Again, greatsword.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's only a 14.
Snap!
But the bite is a 21.
I will Wrath of the Storm that as well.
Sure, 7 piercing from the bite.
So I take the 7 damage, but I can see him, right?
Yep.
So he hits me with an attack. He has to do a dex saving throw.
21. Sorry, 20.
All right. He saves. So half damage. Let's see here. 5 lightning or thunder. Does it matter which one?
Mullen. I think Mullen is just gonna... He's gonna get his horse to disengage, I guess. And go meet up with Halsa. And he can throw his own firebolt back at the horned orc. Oh my goodness. God, that's like a 6. These wizards are terrible.
Oh, no.
Falzarin, prove them. Prove me wrong. Prove me wrong, Falzarin. Wizards suck. Prove me wrong.
Change my mind.
Yeah, change my mind. Thank you.
Wizards suck. Change my mind.
Yeah, if you're counting on Falzarin for that.
Be like, excuse me, we do not suck. We blow.
I am going to cast Fireball. Very unpredictable of me.
Count your dice.
I'm hoping to cast it at a point pretty close to myself, but not so far enough away that it will catch Mullen and Halsa, which are looks like about 30, 25. Yeah. So I'm basically going to cast it sort of right next to myself, and then the 20-foot radius should just miss Halsa and Mullen, and I'll be able to sculpt for everyone else, but the horses. The horses are going to take some damage.
The horses are going to take it.
You do know I am fire resistant. Just saying.
Yeah. So she's always going to take damage. It's just going to be...
If you don't sculpt her, she will, yeah.
I don't know that I would want...
But you also know I can call Buttercup back, so if you
Yeah.
killed her, I'd only hate you for a little bit.
Plus, Falzarin's horse is dead. He doesn't want to be the only one.
Wouldn't be the first time.
Every time Falzarin gets on anything that looks like a horse, it dies.
Oh!
Poor Pegasus.
Pegasus.
I will.
that's true.
I will remind you that Denny's somewhere.
That's true.
Oh. Denny counts for
Denny.
needing to be sculpted?
No, it's a method of transportation. That's what he's saying, I think, right?
Save a horse, ride a broom.
No, but like if I
Yeah,
kill
save a horse,
if
ride a
I
broom.
kill a horse or two, we still have Denny. Is what you
Okay.
It's,
Do what you
okay,
will. Do
Bill.
what you want with Denny. I guess.
Wait, what were you saying? That's what I thought you...
What the
I think he was saying if you fly up on Denny first and then cast your fireball, you won't have to sculpt around yourself.
I have to sculpt around myself?
Yeah, you do. Freaking kidding me?
It's my own spell. Come on, dude. Who wrote the rules for this game?
Freaking
Okay. Let's roll all this back. That's definitely going to happen, right? How does the action economy work for me to get on Denny and fly? Like, will that take my turn, or...
No. I mean, we'll treat it like a horse. To get on Denny, it'll take half your movement, but then Denny has a 60-foot fly speed or whatever I gave you.
Okay. All right. So I only need to fly like 10, 15 feet in the air to be...
Well, you need to fly outside of a 20-foot radius.
Oh, I see. Okay. Well, then I'm looking at disengaging from the Tanaruk that's right beside me.
If you don't want to risk a hit,
Sorry, horses. It's come to this. So, myself, Shaft, Dreg, Mia, and Shakara will be the 5 that I sculpt for.
does that mean you are casting
I
a
am
5th
upcasting.
level fireball?
No, 4th.
Torrent!
It's 1
It's
plus
the level
spell
plus
level,
1?
right?
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm gonna
Torrent!
upcast it.
Okay.
I spent a lot of time naming this horse.
I'm sorry, Torrent.
I think that horse is toast. Okay, so centered on yourself, 20 feet, right? So yes, you will just miss Halsey Mullen and their horses. The red fangs are still up in the air, so they will not be affected. But the claw of Luthix, the elongated fingernail ones, have landed, so you'll get them too.
And the Tanaruk are all on the ground, right?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. Good. Goodness gracious. 3, 6,
Yeah, count them
9.
3 times.
right? 3, 6, 9.
Don't say right. You need to know if you're right, not us.
I think you need to add like 5 more.
I don't think it would do them any good. The Tanaruk rolled very well on their dexterity saving throws.
Dang it.
The lowest is 15.
My the number to beat is 16.
Okay, great.
Nice.
So one failed, and then we had a 16, a 16, and an adjusted 20. So Tanaruks, or 3 of the 4 will take half damage.
31 damage for those who didn't pass.
So you see all 4 of the Tanaruk too in this ball of fire. The tips of their horns, like almost, as the flames wash over them, the tips of the horns glow, and you can see like the surrounding fire almost like absorbs into their horns as they are affected, but not quite as severely burned as you might expect.
Extremely rude.
Bill, you did Shakara a solid. Now Shakara knows not to breath weapon them all.
Yeah, did Shakara see that too?
You walked so Shakara could run. You know what I'm saying?
With the 4th level spell slot.
Yeah, laugh it up, buddy.
Listen, he's never gonna spend his precious spells. He's gonna flaming sphere if you keep making fun of him.
No, well, not against these guys, I'm not.
Okay, but that does leave every one of your horses need to roll a dexterity saving throw.
Oh, frick.
Even if
the
they
normal
pass,
riding horses have a
they're
dexterity of
dead.
0, I will remind you.
Didn't you say their HP is like 10 or something?
13. Shaft's horse is on like 3. Shaft's horse is on his last leg.
Torrent rolled a 16, baby.
But half of 31 is 15.
Oh, they all die anyway.
You actually are correct, even if they save, they're all toast. You see on the horses, their hooves, the fire around. No, I'm sorry, the horses are dead.
But how much damage did you do?
Hot dog.
15 if they...
You're actually,
if they-
because you round the half up, so actually on a successful save, all the horses will take 16 damage, 16 fire damage.
But it's still 13 HP.
Yeah, the riding horses, but the war horse, though, Buttercup might still be up.
Buttercup has, according to this, a base of, if I don't roll for it, 19 hit points. And she has a dex of 1. So she got a 16.
She saved.
It's 16 to... Who
Yeah.
does the tie go to?
To us.
Goes to the person saving.
To the horse. The tie goes to the horse.
Nice.
Um,
Shakara and I are still best buds.
time out. Can my horse be a war horse because his name is Torrent?
In Torrent's heart, Torrent was a war horse.
But now he's a freaking wiener. He's a roasted hot dog.
Now he is food for the Tower Watch. Yep.
So Buttercup has 3 health left.
Okay.
First you kill the Pegasuses. Mia's pissed.
Well done, Falzern.
Freaking no.
Oh, I feel like that
Oh
was
my
a bad
gosh,
idea.
Bill, you have no regard for my war horse.
As this intense round of combat, plays out, the sounds of the battle north of the tower, right? Again, you see the ballista up there. Every so often, one of the exploding bolts lances into the hordes of orcs. You can see each of the paladins themselves are carrying, torches in their hands, so there's light within the battle around them. Some of them are getting swarmed, some of them are getting cut down. Many of the machines are holding fast against the orcs' weapons. But further behind them, even added to the chorus, as you know, generally the footsteps, the thundering footsteps have ceased as the orcs have met the two front lines clashing. But the sound of the steps picks up again, and you can see, stepping into some of the torchlight of one of the paladins furthest out, more orcs, but their bodies are misshapen and bloated. In the flickering lights, you see like this kind of slimy green pustules,
egg sacs
covering their body. They do not look like the sacks you found in the tunnels beneath the lake. They look different. They look diseased, and you see them shambling forward. And as a group of four of them meet this paladin and everybody around it, they explode. Caustic slime spread all over everything in the clear the vicinity of the detonation. Behind them, half a dozen more of the same orcs charge forward towards you.
That's it. End of the show. Thanks for listening. But before you go, I got a couple of things I want to tell you about. You can find the Incorrigible Party all over the interwebs. You can just go to incorrigibleparty.com and you can find all the links there. While you're there, check out the Patreon. There's some really cool stuff you could do with the Patreon, like give inspiration to Shaft. Or you can waste it and give it to one of those other mooks. Even worse, you could give it to Leland. Also, you can get access to mini campaigns and other cool stuff that we do. You're automatically entered into all contests. I mean, it's really a great deal. The Incorrigible Party is sponsored by Critical Hit Design. All ambient sounds and music provided by tabletopaudio.com. Intro and outro music is by Josh Jarvis, and you can email him at jamesmercymusic@gmail.com if you need any music stuff. Okay, that's it. Now you can go. Happy adventuring!